Yo,
Flozell,
what's up?
what's good with you, man?
Nothing, man. About to running some errands and stuff right now.
Okay, sound like you in the G ride, huh?
Yep, I'm in the league.
All right, so I got you, man. I don't even know what number guest you are, man. I just got through talking with Coach Baggett, so I got Flozell Adams on the Spartan Dawg podcast, man. What's going on, Flo?
Not much, man. Just in Dallas, taking it easy, trying to stay cool out here.
All right, so that's where you living at these days? You in Dallas, not Chicago, huh?
Not Chicago, even though I frequently go back to visit the family, but I'm still in Dallas.
All right, and what you got going on these days, man? After you retired, man, what type of work you doing these days?
The work I'm doing, I'm in the real estate business where I build single-family homes and do a lot of restorations and refurbishments.
All right. Now you ain't just doing little homes, man. You done built a couple subdivisions and everything, right?
Yes, I have. I've been doing this since 2002.
2002. So you was doing it while you still was playing?
Yep. I was doing what I was playing because I felt at the time I didn't know how long I was going to last in the league because you really never know. I didn't think I was going to go 13. So I decided to create the business right now while I was still playing because you never know. You could be one injury away from your career being over.
Now, what was it about the real estate stuff that you liked? I mean, what attracted you to the real estate game?
I've been at it, pretty much all my life. I have relatives that own apartment buildings in Chicago and did rentals and it wasn't any building, but more rentals and refurbishments while I was growing up. And in high school, I used to read magazines and read a couple of books on the real estate game, and of course, watching stuff on television. But I never thought I would actually get into it until I had the opportunity.
Now, did you start small, Flo? You did a couple of houses, or you just really went in, or did you work your way up to that?
Oh yeah, I started off small. I started off with one house at a time, but it wasn't a new build. It was a restoration at first, and I started off with one, and then I did, made pretty good money. So I started one. I must have did like 10 houses one at a time, and then it started coming two, and then it started coming three at a time. So it just went on from there.
And then what's kind of like the scope of the stuff you guys are doing now? I mean, y'all still doing subdivisions, or what are y'all, custom homes, or what?
Well, the demographics of a building a whole subdivision has changed down here. It varies from state to state. And usually back in the day when I started 2002, I think to about 2010, one developer would do a whole subdivision. But now that everything has changed and they changed the laws and everything, they felt that the developer was getting too much. When one person do it, you have to have at least three developers in one subdivision down here. So right now it can be anywhere. You have to have at least three. It can be five or six, but most of the time it's three or four.
Okay, I never knew that. I was wondering. I would always see multiple builders. It's like that now, where I would see homes in the same subdivision by different builders. So I never knew that's what that was. That's interesting. So then you guys kind of take a certain amount of lots and develop them and build your homes within a subdivision.
Yep, that's all it is. Just get a certain amount of lots and mix them up. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a lots everywhere. It just comes and goes on how you build it and where you build it. Doesn't matter. It's just how it rolls out.
All right. Now, Flo, you from the time you got out of school till now, did you do any other business ventures, or you just strictly been doing the real estate?
No, when I first got into the NFL, this came up pretty quick after my third or fourth year, and it's been beneficial for me. So I've just stuck with it over all these years.
Yeah. Did you take a bath when the housing stuff went down, or you were straight?
Actually, we had a crash back in 2008, 2009, and being that I was dealing with I was a financial person back in college. Uh, I found out when the estimate was about to crash, and so I had sold off. I sold off three homes at cost with what it cost me. So that whoever bought them had a very good discount, and then I just kept my land and paid taxes on it, and I just stopped building for approximately 14 months. And then the guys who went bankrupt, they kept building and building. Nobody was buying houses because they were bankrupt. So I bought their houses.
So you saw it coming, huh? So you quit trying to swim and just waited for a little while, and then when everybody drowned, you came through and scooped them up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't intentional. I mean, just once I found out that that's what they did, because I quit building, and once the market was coming back, they went bankrupt. I was like, well, shoot, I'll take them.
Okay. All right. So now, so Flo, on I want to go back to, I mean, I don't know if you heard any of the other podcasts, but usually I'll ask the people how many years they celebrating their marriage. So, man, how many years you celebrating your marriage, man? How long you been married now?
Come on, man. I've never been married.
Oh, you ain't been married, man?
No, I've never been married. The truth be known, one day I hope I will be. It's not, we're laughing, but seriously, one day I hope I will be. But it's not anything I'm opposed to. I mean, if it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. So no anniversary. So then, man, can you talk to us about your kids, man? What your kids into?
My kid is my nephew, which I have him right now, and he's been a headache for me. They're preteen, 14 years old, and I see why I didn't get married and have kids. So,
so no anniversaries and no babies. All your kids go home, huh?
And now, all the buddies like, you're gonna be old when you have them. So I'm like, I don't care as long as that mug come out with all limbs intact and got a good brain on his head. That's all that matters.
All right, and then so I got a question, man. Where's the Impala at, man?
The Impala is in the garage chilling.
Yeah, it still work?
Of course, it only has like 80,000 miles on it, man. That's my boo.
That's your boo. All right, so Flo, so we're gonna go back to high school. Oh, actually, I want to go back a little bit further for you. I grew up with Bob Whitfield, and Bob played tackle. Bob was big and all this stuff, and Bob had quick feet and all this stuff and got drafted high. And I always tell people that I thought Bob was like that because I always said we never let Bob grow up fat. Like he never lived kind of like a fat life per se. So I always wonder with you, when you were younger, when did you realize that you were a little bit bigger and taller than everybody?
If I remember correctly, I didn't really realize it until once I got in high school, because I didn't start playing football until my junior year in high school.
Okay.
So, a lot of guys like, you big. And I mean, you had a couple of guys that were like, at that time, 9th grade, 10th grade, you're like 6'1", 6'2". I mean, they were a little more slender, but I was more stout. But, you really never paid any attention to it until the coach had told me one day and asked me if I wanted to play football. And I told him no. So he went over my head and talked to my mother. So my mother made me play football. So once I got out there and started playing, and I resisted a little bit, but once I started realizing my capabilities, that's why I went forward with it. But after realizing when I was really big, I think it started happening my junior year when it was time to get some clothes.
Right.
And growing up in the 90s, it wasn't like it is right now, where you can go click on a link and get a 4XLT tall or some 15, 16 shoes, and Amazon, you're going to have it in 2 days. Right. I mean, we actually my mother had to drive me and my father had to drive me all over the city, and if we were lucky, we would find something in the stores.
Really?
So that's how difficult it was once I realized how big I was. But I didn't realize how tall I was until I went to Michigan State. And, you stuck under your parents' house all your life, and you see them every day and whatnot, but then you don't realize until you're gone. So I got dropped off in August, and I didn't see my parents until December. And once I got home, I'm like, dang, he's short. So that's when I realized how tall I was, because you see him all the time, you're really used to it, but when you didn't see him for like 3, 4, 5 months, you go home, I'm like, wow, these people are short around here.
Yeah, so that's why I was wondering. I'm like, it's interesting, because that's why. Then I was wondering. So you never played football? Did you play basketball?
No, I didn't play basketball either. I wrestled.
Oh, you used to wrestle. Okay. So don't wrestling have a weight class?
Yeah, they have a weight class. At that time, I think it's a little higher now. But it went up 10, 15 pounds once I was playing. So it's I think it's 285 right now. But when I was wrestling, it was 275 was the max.
And so, did you just have to wrestle kids older than you, or what?
I mean, when I first started playing football, I was already 275 once I started wrestling in my junior year. Then once I became a senior, I had jumped up to 300. So I had to cut weight to be able to wrestle that year.
Okay. Now on did you so then your junior year did you play, or was you just on the team, or when did you really when did you start starting and stuff like that, and when did you get the idea that you was pretty good at it?
I didn't really get a good idea that I was pretty good, but I didn't think I had a lot of confidence because they just threw me in there. I didn't, we didn't come. I came from a basketball school, and everything was basketball. It wasn't much emphasis put on football. So, I mean, our football team actually was kind of subpar. So they just threw me in there. I got knocked around until I just started getting it.
So when they threw you in, did you just went straight to the O-line, or you played defense too, or what?
Actually, I played defensive line first, and then they switched me to O-line, and then I started playing both ways.
Okay. And then, so junior year, senior year, were you, I mean, so it was funny. I always tell this joke. I'm sorry to compare you to Bob, but I grew up with him. So I always tell people it was never cool to be big and black and blind in one eye until from the 11th to the 12th grade when Bob became the number one lineman in the nation. So I'm just wondering for you, like, when did it become cool to be that big, and when did it start, the little hype start that this guy was really good for you?
I never really had in my mind that I was really that good. I just had in my mind that I was like okay because I started so late. And one thing that I was worried about back then was, do I have the ability to be able to play football? Because at that time I wasn't even thinking about scholarships or anything like that, because I knew I was going to go to school because everybody in my family has some type of everything was education. Everything was education, and most of the family members are all doctors and lawyers actually in Chicago, and it was all about that because I'm like the first athlete in my family. So that was my emphasis back then. So it really didn't matter, but I was just working on my confidence to be able to just go out there and make a couple of tackles. And what you're asking, I think it started realizing that my senior year when the coach was like, hey, we have a couple of college scouts out here. And I remember the coach told me, I'm like, for who? They're like, for you. They was like, let me show you. So I'm like, oh, they come to see me? I'm like, oh, let me start upping this game up. So I think what you asked, and I can explain like that, once I started hearing that some of the college coaches were out there, that's when I started to pick my game up.
And then, so you when I guess if you can, who were did you take all your trips your senior year or what?
Did I do what?
You take all your recruiting trips, or how many trips did you go on?
I went on 4, and I went to Illinois, Northwestern, Michigan State, and that other school. I hate to say their name.
Right.
You already know.
Right. So then what was it about? I mean, what was your final 2? What did you kind of come down to?
Actually, a lot of people don't know that I had committed to Illinois.
Ah.
And sometime before, around Christmas, actually it was like mid-December, I had committed to Illinois. And at that time, I believe the recruiting coordinator who was recruiting, his name was Sherman Williams or Sherman Lewis, and the head coach was Lou Tepper. And I committed, and it was like, oh, yeah, he's a Chicago product going to Illinois, all this and that. But in the back of my mind, I always liked Michigan State. So at that time, being, football dummy, I didn't know anything about schools when it came to football. I picked the team or the school that everybody thought that I should pick, even though I liked Michigan State. So Pat Shermer was recruiting me at the time, and he was, he was disappointed once he heard that I had committed to Illinois. But I found out later, after I left, actually, around my mother had passed, that she told him to keep trying.
Really?
So even though that I committed to Illinois, and in the back of my mind, I had Mike Michigan State. So at the time, I think they had to sign the letter of intent. And I mean, like the week before I was supposed to do this, I'm like, I don't want to make a mistake. I did not like Illinois. I cannot stand. I didn't say I can't stand Illinois. I don't want to go there. So the morning of the day we had to sign the letter of intent on February 3rd, it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 o'clock Michigan time. I called Pat Shermer, woke him up out of bed.
Really?
I said, Coach, I was like, is there any way that you have any scholarships left? Because I want to go to Michigan State. I changed my mind. And he was like, oh, Flo, I think we gave all our scholarships away. And, it's done. And then he stopped. He's like, you know what? Let me call Purvis. So he called Purvis 3 o'clock in the morning. And he talked to Purvis. And then he called me back. He's like, done deal. He said, we're going to fax you over the letter of intent in the morning.
So, Flo, was he the first person you told, or did you tell your mom you was going to do that?
Well, my mother she already knew. And she's like, you need to make a decision. She's like, I'm not going to make a decision for you. So Sherman was the first person that I really actually told beside my mother. And then Sherman had talked to GP, then GP had told Sherman to give it to him. And so the next morning I was sitting with the AD waiting for the fax to come in at 10 a.m. And Michigan State fax came, and literally 10 seconds later, Illinois fax came with the letter of intent.
So you hadn't told them?
I haven't had time. I mean, I was up all night. So I had called, and I had signed it, and then the AD was like, you better call him right now. He's like, you better call him right now. So I went on and called Sherman, and I told him what I did. I said I changed my mind and went to Michigan State. And he was very disappointed, and it was very apparent in his tone of voice. So I told him I'm sorry and all the other stuff, and just pretty much hung up the phone. So that's how I ended up going to Michigan State.
Wow. Wow. Okay, cool.
And I like to say at every shooting visit on that other school. I remember when my father, we had drove to Chicago, went up 94, and went to a game. And I'm just going to say, I think Gary Moeller was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up there and did all the recruiting crap, and went to a game, and they walked me around, just like they do any other high school guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at a game and watching Michigan play somebody. And during halftime, they had the high school students go up there and talk to coaches and all other stuff. And I remember one of the guys they wanted me to meet with is Trezell Jenkins, because he was from Chicago too. And we stayed there to the middle of the third quarter, and I looked at my dad. He was like, what's the problem? I said, let's leave. And he was like, why? Like, the game's on there. I said, I hate this school. I said, I don't like it.
Really?
He was like, you sure? He's like, you want to leave right now? He said, Dad, let's go. Let's go. So we got in the car in the middle of the third quarter and hopped on 94 and went back to Chicago. And he was like, I can tell you didn't like that school. I'm like, I just didn't like being in the locker room. I didn't like those people and anything like that. And I remember Les Miles was my recruiting guy at the time. And he was calling. I wouldn't even return his calls for a week until I finally returned his call and told him I'm not interested in going to that school.
So on there, Flo, so for people that don't know, can you talk about the different type of people or the different, between just the culture and them? That's what Mills said on his podcast. He said he got there and the dude, he done broke all the records in passing. They telling him if he don't switch to receiver, he's selfish. And he was like, I knew I wasn't going there. And then again, even Bob was going to sign there, and the dude gave away his scholarship, told him, he was like, look, you either take it now or whatever. So it's kind of like, what is it about the culture or the personality at Michigan State that you like about it as opposed to, some of the other schools?
I took my visit to Illinois, Northwestern, and that other school, and it was something about Michigan State that really grew on me. And at that time, the guy, the Michigan State player that they had for me was Joel Sinclair. And Joel is like welcomed me with open arms. He was cool. He took me around other people. He was cool. And just being around the team and went to the game, whatever game that was. Oh, I know what it was. It was Central Michigan. And we lost to Central Michigan. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of high school buddies with me. They're like, "You want to go here? This Big Ten school lose to Central Michigan?" I was like, "Man," I'm like, "I don't care, man. There's something about this team. It felt like a family.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a family, no matter if you was white or black or Hispanic or whoever on the team. I mean, you're all together, rich or poor. We were all bleeding green, no matter what. We all came there for a reason, just to do our best, get an education, and play football.
Right.
And when I went to other schools, I didn't feel it. I felt a lot of guys that were like, me. As long as I got this, as long as this, I'm here for this, I'm here for that. Screw everybody else. I didn't feel that at Michigan State, so that's what made me want to go there.
Now, for you, was Pat Morris your coach?
Yeah, Pat Morris was O-line coach. Yeah.
Okay, that's who recruited me. So how was it? I mean, how was your relationship with him and Perlis? Perlis seemed from looking from the outside, Perlis loved you, man. I mean, so and I know you may not have a chance, but I asked Mill, which it just puzzles me to death. I asked Mill had he ever got cussed out, and he told me no. So Flozell, have you ever been cussed out while you was at Michigan State? GP ever get on you?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Every dog all the time, man. Well, not all the time. He get pissed, he'll cuss you out. And, I know it's a podcast for Spartan Dawg, so it really don't even matter. Because I remember this one particular time we were playing Northwestern, and this was before the field was, went down 20 feet. And Michigan State was fighting Northwestern in the stands and everything. He got in the stands. And I remember me and Don Walker were sitting right there, "Hey, let's go fight. You're like, "No, man, we're not even playing. Man, let's go fight." He said, "We're going to lose our red shirt. We step on that field." We're like, I don't care. He's like, "Let's do it." And just when we took off running, GP had grabbed the back of it. He's like, "God damn it, you mother. You got to sit your ass down. I'm going to kick your ass, Adams. Kick it all the way back to Chicago."
Yeah.
So I was like, man, at that time, I've never seen that side of GP. He called me the next morning into his office. He's like, "I don't want to see your ass doing that again. Shit, I'll still kick it. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are, how bad you think you are. I say, I'll kick your ass and don't do it again. Get out of here." I was like, okay. But, I got cussed out every once in a while. I was a hot-headed teenager at the time, so, hey. It's just the way it was. Neil said he didn't because he was a golden boy. Neil's a golden boy from Detroit, or Farmington, Novi, wherever he's from.
Yeah.
So of course Neil didn't get cussed out.
I didn't know that, man. I was surprised. I thought GP let everybody have it.
Nah, not me. Not me. I mean, hey, you got Charlie Baggett and GP like the golden boy. I had Pat Morris who didn't give a damn at GP.
All right. So then on there, Flo. So on there, when did you start? Where did you get when did you get the nickname? Did you come to Michigan State as Flozell the hotel or what?
No, I just came as Flozell, and actually I just asked this a couple of weeks ago, like where did the hotel come from? And if I remember correctly, it came from some commentator. I can picture his face right now, but I can't remember his name. And we were playing against Nebraska. I think it was one of my first or second starts. It was my second or third year. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, that Flozell is big as a hotel." And then he was like, "Hey, Flozell the hotel." That's what he started. So ever since he said that, it's been stuck with me up to this day.
Yeah. So
That was
then
on television.
now at State for you then, okay, so then you maybe in high school you just kind of muddling along and you didn't realize how big or talented you were. When did it click in college that it popped in your head that you possibly can play at the next level?
I was kind of intimidated when I got to Michigan State because, I was on scout team, and you're going against Juan Hemmings and Richard Glover. Both of them are extremely hard workers. And, Juan will put it to you, but Glove, well, he was an ass. And he'll sit up there and stick it to you like, all right, freshman. So I'm like, man, forget that junk. I don't care if he's a junior, senior, whatever, man. We're going to go. So there it goes. I mean, it was like a game every day in practice. how these guys be practicing today, they some wimps. I mean, if they try to do any practice like it was, they wouldn't even last.
Right.
We had 907 going like we're in the doggone Rose Bowl.
Right.
And I remember it was me, Eileen, Dave Mudd, Scott Shaw, Sean Hart, even Antoine, Patrick D. We were going at it. I mean, you can ask some of those guys on scout team. I bet you they would tell you that's the best scout team they ever won against. So I started going against those guys, and I was redshirted. And, you know, like I said earlier, I was kind of intimidated. I was like, because, you know, they had Shane Hanna and Brian DeMarco, and, you know, I used to watch those guys, and I admired their ability, just being on the sidelines and some of the wars that they've been through. And I never thought I would have the opportunity to do that. But as we started plugging along in those scout teams for that first year, I was like, hey, man, I'm ready. Yeah. Especially once we got to that November and December, and we just kept plugging along. And I remember even going to the Liberty Bowl, we were still doing that crap. We were hitting. We was hitting. So after that, I was like, man, I'm ready to get on this field and show my talents.
Yeah. Now on there, the other thing that was interesting, and so did you play for GP and Saban, or you just played for Perlis?
No, I only played for Perlis 1 year, and I think it was 1 year, 1 year and a half, something like that. But I had Saban.
All right, so
maybe it was 2 years with GP and Saban.
So was it a big transition for you between the coaches, or it was no big deal, or how did you deal with that?
Well, it was definitely a transition because, you know, Saban, a young guy at the time, and he had to come and prove a point, and he was trying to weed out the guys who didn't want to follow his system, which right now, as you know, in college, he was like, man, you trying to pick us out here, but as an adult, you can understand, you know, the things he has to do to be able to get the type of team that he wants, which I can totally understand right now because when I was a coach, I do the same thing because we got a hot head that's not going to follow what I have to do in my recipe for winning. So you got to go. So that's what he did, and that's what we had went through. And he turned a couple of chains, and a couple of guys had left, but a lot of us had stayed and did what we needed to do to be able to try to be successful.
All right. So did you enjoy playing for one or the other, or it didn't? It was cool for both of them.
I didn't play under George Perlis, though. I was redshirted and was playing second string, but it was when I started really playing under Saban. I really can't. They were two hard old school coaches, so I can't say one was better than the other. But I did learn a lot from both. But you know, with Saban coming in, being a younger coach and being a hard ass he was, it was definitely a challenge with this dude coming up in here. And then I think we had a couple of guys transfer. And at that moment, I remember talking to my mom. I said, hey, you know, I want to transfer. And then she like, I want to let you think about that because she like, you came there, you might as well finish there, but the decision is yours.
Right.
And I remember going back to, I was in the dorm at the time. I remember going back to Bo West Wilson. And I actually looked in the mirror. I was like, you know what? Forget that transfer. I'm going to stick right here and just do what I do.
Right. Now, how was it? Now, how many years did you end up playing in the league?
13.
13. And then how many did you do with Dallas?
12.
12. So was that was that last year Pittsburgh the fucking year, man? What was you doing?
What you say?
I said, was that last year in Pittsburgh like the fucking year? What was you doing, man? Was you halfway want to play? You ain't want to take no pay cut or what?
No, I actually I wanted to do 14, and I was going to retire after 14th season. I was definitely going to do that, and I wanted to do one more. And after going to the Super Bowl at Pittsburgh, I felt that we had a strong chance to do it again. But obviously that lockout came, which is an AKA strike, and we had to sit out the whole off season, and we weren't able to go to the facilities or anything. This is 2011, and you have to work out on your own and all this other stuff. And I remember talking to my agent. He was like, "Hey, it's possible that they're going to ask you to take a pay cut because that's what Pittsburgh do." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. I mean, I'm an old guy right now, and that's what most any teams do. Even though I've never, in the whole 13 years, have ever been asked to restructure my contract or take any type of pay cut." So once the lockout pretty much ended, Pittsburgh came back to me like, we think you're going to take a pay cut and all that stuff. I'm like, that's fine and dandy because at this point, I know I already have mine, and I'm doing this for fun, and I'm chasing this ring. So, I mean, it got close, but we lost to Green Bay, and that's the closest I ever got in the Super Bowl. But I'm like, hey, give it one more shot, and cool, I'll be done. So Pittsburgh was like, hey, you can take away, you can do half of your salary. Take a pay. I said, half? I'm like, I'm in training camp in Pittsburgh. They talking about half my salary. I'm like, half? I said, look, I told you I understand about the old guy taking a pay cut. I said, I'm not doing half. I said, I'll do a quarter. And the guy was like, no. Once he said, I said, well, thank you very much. I shook his hand. And I said, I appreciate the opportunity of you having me here. And I walked out the door. And I got in my car, and I drove to Pittsburgh, because I had a condo out there. And then I packed up some of the things in my condo, and I started driving up to Chicago. And my agent was calling me like, hey, they're trying to call you. I said, are they going to do a quarter? He said, they think. I said, no. And I hung up the phone. So I kept driving, and I called my old man, and I was like, I said, Dad, I did it. And he was like, hey, I was wondering when you'll do it. I thought you were going to do it like 6-7 years ago.
Really?
But I was like, I tugged it through, but yeah, I'm coming home. We'll hang with you a couple of days and head back down to Dallas. And then I was driving a couple hours later, and then my agent was calling me, and he was like, hey, Kansas City called, and San Diego called, all these other teams. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I said, I'm not going to. I said, I left it for one team for 12 years, and I did this one for a year. I was hoping to. I'm not going to be that journey guy.
Right.
I'm not going to be that journey guy search for a team. So I'm definitely sure of my decision. I have no regrets, and that's how it's going to be.
So you made that call just like, see, you got your shit, you dipped, huh?
That's exactly how it happened. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's exactly how it happened.
So then, shit, you started every year then, huh? So 13 years, you started every year, huh?
Yeah, my rookie year I didn't start the first 4 games.
Okay. Now on there, Flo, so they, those are big classic rivals from Dallas to Pittsburgh, man. So how'd you end up going from, why'd you leave Dallas and how'd you end up picking Pittsburgh? What was that like?
Well, at the time, everybody knows that the NFL stands not for long. And each year, they're always trying to bring some younger guy, even when you're young, to try to replace you. So they've been doing that mostly every year since I've been there. So at the time, we were, Bill Parcells got us to a level when we went to the playoffs a couple of times when Wade Phillips came in. And, I'm like, geez, it's the same old song and dance with Dallas. You make it to the playoffs, you lose the first round. You make it to the playoffs, you lose the first round. So I think in 12 years of Dallas, we made the playoffs like 5 times, and we lost all in the first round. And I've only been in the playoffs 5 or 6 times in 12 years. So I'm getting tired of this, and I can't go out like this. So at the end of my 12th year, we finally won a playoff game against Philly because we had to play them back to back. And Ike know this, but I don't think he was with Philly at the time. But we beat Philly, and then we went to Minnesota and got crushed. So I was like, man, I'm tired of this. I know I only have a couple of years left. I know I want to only have a couple of years left because I think if I wanted to, I could have played another 6 or 7 actually. Mm-hmm. I was relatively healthy the whole 12 years at the time, minus the ACL in 2005. But so I set up a meeting with Jerry about a week after the playoff loss, and we sat in his office and we talked. And I said, I want to be cut. I said, I think it's time for a change. And then he was like, I sat there and explained to him, and I said, you can get some new blood in here and do what you have to do. But I feel that this is time for me to, have another shot somewhere else. We sat there and talked 2.5 hours that day. And, it wasn't no ill will or anything. It wasn't any animosity. And it just we agreed to it on mutual terms. So they cut me sometime in the middle of March. I wish they did it in February, but sometime middle of March. And I was searching for teams to play. And, just like any other old vets, you're looking for somebody that's at least playoff caliber. So, of course, at that time, Kansas City sucked. San Diego sucked. San Francisco was subpar. Seattle was sucked. I mean, those are teams that would call me, and all the top tier teams, they already had the tackles at that time. And I was like, man, this is hopeless. And like, I'm just going. I was thinking about going to Kansas City and San Diego, and then Pittsburgh called. So they pretty much agreed to my contract demands, and boom, that's how it happened. I was like, man, Pittsburgh playoff caliber every doggone year. So I mean, I didn't know we were going to make the Super Bowl, but I took a chance at it, and that's what happened.
So on there, Flo, did you have to go in and compete for the job, or you knew you was going to be starting, or you wasn't worried about that, or what?
No, I wasn't worried about that. They just threw me in. I was a Thursday starter. When I got training camp, I was day one at right tackle.
But you didn't play right tackle in Dallas, did you?
No, I played left tackle in Dallas. They put me at right tackle in Pittsburgh.
All right, now in the league, is that a big difference for you? Is it easier to play right, or is it less talent on that side, or it didn't matter?
It was definitely a challenge. And there was points where I would take a right tackle set, like a pass set, and end up in a left tackle stance. It was very, very difficult for that transition because that's all I played was left tackle.
Right.
And, I mean, we'll be in games. We were in the fifth game, and we were playing the Miami Dolphins, and I'll take a set, and I'll end up in a left tackle stance. And then we watched the film, and he was like, you just can't get out? I'm like, I've played left tackle for 12 years. You think me do this overnight? I'm like, it's not going to happen. Right. I mean, even in the Super Bowl, I was doing it. It's hard. It was hard, but, hey, I did what I had to do and made the best of it and just roll with it. Never complained one day. I'm like, hey, I'm just happy to be able to play football, a game I love.
Right. All right. And then, so now, Flo, so, you and your relationship still with Michigan State. So, you played under GP and Antonio, and Saban, and D'Antonio is there now, but you still have a great relationship with the university. Can you kind of talk about that and Coach D? And then, you did the also the, you donated money and had is a room or locker room after your mom? What is it? It's a room.
Yeah,
right?
I named the donated money to have the locker room named after my mom.
Yeah, can you talk about that, unpack that, just, kind of like the importance of still being involved. I always see you at the bowl game, on the sideline, in the suites. Hey, with the sweetest sweatsuits that we can't get, you know what I mean? So can you still...
Hey man, I go down to General Pop every once in a while. I keep it real. I'm a blue collar guy, man. I go to regular people. I don't care.
Man, you be out there pregame, then you be gone.
But like I said, the reason I picked Michigan State because I felt like it was a family atmosphere, and those guys are coming to school just like we did. It's nothing different except they're a little more bougie. Mm-hmm. But it's still some good kids that come up in there, and I like to give back to basically where I was born.
So did they approach you, or did you approach them? Say, hey, I'm thinking about this, or how did the conversation even start?
It was kind of a mutual thing because I was like, man, when I come back, they were like before the project even started, I'm like, man, these guys still have this locker room and one toilet working. I'm like, how do you guys get up in there? I'm like, when they went up there, it smelled the same like it did when I left there 10, 15 years prior. And then they were talking about a project before it really became public. And I was like, they're like, accept donations and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, you building all this on donation? Like, yeah. So, it took a couple of years. And then I was like, well, the new locker room, I said, I would like to have it under my mom's name. And that's just how it came.
Really? So on there, Flows, that's what I was going to ask you. So when you decide to donate, do you say, I'm gonna donate this and I'd like to do this, or do they just, was it a big process to be like, that's cool, we're gonna name it after his mom, or it just kind of it was done like that?
We were talking about donations, and I said, I would like, if I donate this, I would like to have it under my mom, and they were like, hey, no problem. It wasn't like I had to fight with them.
Right.
Because I know, being in this business, you got to fight. Well, like, say, if you wanted to donate something in to another stadium or any other type of entity, and they're like, well, you need $5 million to get one letter.
Right.
When it was Michigan State, it was like, hey, they were like, no problem.
So then on there, why was it important? Was your mom still living at the time that you did that, or had she passed already?
No, my mom had passed when I was a junior in college.
Okay. And then
So that
yeah, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's all right. So that's why I felt it was important because she, just like all the other moms that sat in the stands, my mom sat in the stands too, but she had passed my junior year. So I just felt it was important. I just felt it important to put the name in the locker room in her honor.
So then it was never under consideration to name it the Flozell Adams. You just always said, I want to put this in my mom's name.
Yeah, it was never any consideration to put it under my name.
All right. And then when the project's done, so now when you go up there, I mean, how do you feel about it? I mean, does it, you just, you got your shit on the wall forever, man. I mean, how do you feel about that it's finally done?
You know, to me, with donating, it wasn't about the money; it was about the honor, and I like to give back, and even though you give to the homeless, I have a breast cancer foundation, and they have football camps for kids and all that stuff, but the honor to give, not just to have it under my mother's name, but give back to the guys that were coming in, because I know it's unfortunate that we have had that locker room, and we don't have what they have right now. But just to give these guys an opportunity to have something, pretty decent, not decent, great, to be able to come in, it makes me happy. So that was another reason why I did it, and it's a good thing to go up in there and see those facilities the way they are today.
And then for you, so then why do you still come back to the games and go to the bowl games? Why is it important for you to still be involved?
Like I said, I felt like I was born there as a football player, and coming from a young man to a man, I felt that's where it all started. And I just love going up there. I love seeing the guys when they're around, doing the tailgate, experience the Spartan games, and talk about old times. I'm like, that's the birth. That's the birth of me. And I come back and I feel like it's just a great thing, a great experience that I've been through when I was at Michigan State, and to be a part of that for 2 or 3 games a year, that makes me feel good to be able to go out there and participate, or just to even just sit back and watch.
All right, so now this the part, man, where I'm gonna give you an opportunity, if you can, on the fly. Do you got any funny Michigan State stories that you can share?
Tony?
I said funny.
Funny? Oh man, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
While you think about it, I'm gonna talk about my experience with Flozell and why I don't mess with Flozell no more. And this goes to when we at the bowl game in Dallas, and we in there drinking. It's New Year, so we drinking shots. I'm a tequila person. I'll drink tequila and beer all day. And your ass came up there with some damn whiskey or something, man. And so, I'm like, oh, what, man, whatever it was bad, man. So I'm like, okay, it's 11:59. I'm gonna get Flo off my neck. I'm gonna drink this damn shot or 2 or 3, and we done. So we drink the shots. I'm like, oh, that's horrible. 12 o'clock come, everybody, whatever. I'm like, all right, we about to go home. Let me hit Flo up, see where he at. Your ass upstairs, it's a whole nother party. So we drinking all night, and the game is early. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't fucking with Flozell. So then I come to the game, right? I go to my seat. I got 4 bottles of water, nigga. I got 2 in my hands and 2 in my back pocket. I sit there and I'm just drinking water. Your ass come strolling in the stadium with about 4 beers, man. I said, I'm gone. So we played that bowl game in Dallas 2 years in a row. The next year, I purposely booked my ticket to leave the day of the game because I ain't want to hang with y'all no more. And that's why I said I'm cool. I'm cool with Flozell. We upstairs partying and kicking it. So yeah, man, I'm done with you, bro. I can't
Come on, man. We got some more to go. We're gonna be doing this for the rest of our lives.
I retired, man. Y'all, I'm always leaving the day of the game when I know y'all in town.
You can't retire. You don't have any option. You're a Spartan Dawg. No option. You can't retire. It's like being in the game. You can't quit. It's not an option.
All right. So tell you real quick. I mean, give me what it means, to be a Spartan Dawg, or when you hear that term Spartan Dawg, what that means to you, man.
I know a lot of us don't talk, but you know, you got the Facebook page, and you know, go back and forth with some of the details and some stuff that goes in. You know, people talk about their kids, talk about Spartan football, all this stuff. And as I stated earlier, it just feels like a family still. I mean, whether you see the guy or not, you can still talk on the phone or even talk through Facebook, something like that. It just feels good to be a part of something, and to know that you know we all came from that program, and we're proud of it. Even though they're sucking right now and have the little incident. I mean, hey, I'm ride or die all the way through. I don't care if they win 0 games this year. I'm still going to be there.
Right.
I'm going to still be there, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be there too. We're going to bitch and complain. That's going to happen.
Right.
But I'll never stop. I will never stop being a Spartan Dog. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I like being a part of Spartan Dog. So it just feels like a family. There's something to go to because, you know, we all start the same way, come in 18 years old, 19 years old, like I said, no matter what type of demographic you came from, and you feel that you kept in touch with a lot of guys over the years. And it's different once you start being adult and start getting your things done at 25, 26, 30 years old. You meet people just like you did when you was younger, but it's always where you go back, like I said, where you were born. That's where we were all born, being Spartan Dogs. So it always goes back to there. Just like you from wherever, you from Detroit, you from Chicago, Cleveland, L.A., something like that. You always go home.
Right.
You always go home. So no matter where you live, you always go home. If you live in a city where you were born, you're going to go to your parents' house, your cousin's house. So we Spartan Dogs. So we all stick together, and we're going to go home. We're going to go watch a game around there. So that's the honor of being a Spartan Dog.
All right, cool. Now, Flo, where are you at on social media if people want to follow you, man? You on Instagram, Facebook, or people want to know about your home building? Is it still what was it, FL Luxury, or you got a website for the construction, or what?
It's F&I Adams Luxury Homes. I don't have a website anymore because the cost of having a website, and being that most of the builders down here don't have a website. And it's not that I can't afford it. It's that the website is not needed because every area is different, especially when it comes to state from what I've learned. These people down here still go by hearsay. They go by hearsay. And they're like, oh, we heard this, heard that, or you could post this, post that. So that's how they do it. And most of these people are like the new millennials will probably do that for 25, but the baby boomers don't use internet.
Right.
So they still go by their hearsay. So it's not needed. So it wasn't any use having a website. So that's one of the reasons why I don't have the website for the business.
All right. Now I talked to Glove. I talked to Glove last week. I'm about to have him on. So if Glove want to come work for you, man, you got him.
Yeah, come on down, man. Come on down. You come work down the essays. You need to learn some Spanish. They could be talking about you and smiling your face.
Senor Glover.
Yeah, you don't know what the heck they're saying because the lady that works for me, I'm like, what they say? So one day I'm gonna take me to class and start knowing what these dudes be saying. They be having that little smirk on their face.
Like El Grande, Godzilla.
Yeah.
All right.
You never know.
All right. No, go ahead, Flo. So your Facebook is just Flozell Adams, and Instagram just Flozell Adams. That's where you at?
No, it's on the Flo Adams. I'm in the Spartan Dog group.
Okay. All right. And then last thing, which game you going to? You homecoming, or you doing a couple other ones, or you decided yet or not?
You know, I haven't decided yet because it always depends on what's going on down here. Because when you're in a home building business, you know, it's pretty much dead during the summer. So when everybody finished their trips and family vacations, all that stuff, and once school is settled in, that's when it starts picking up again. So it all depends on, you know, what's going on because I can't leave these people down here working without me too long. Everything's going to come in disarray. But no, I always try to make it a homecoming. And you know, I haven't really looked at the schedule yet, but it's probably that first, second game, and that's how I usually from the first, second game, or sometime in the late October or early November. And usually I don't care what team it is. I just go up there anyways, no matter what.
Right. Okay. All right. So cool. Spartan Dawg Podcast, Flozell Adams. We out, man. I appreciate it, Flo. I'll holler at you.
All right, no problem, man. Anytime.
All right, but
all right, later.